Okay, welcome to IT 145, Founding App Development. This is the Zybook Lab activities, and my name is James Cross, and I'm a student at SNHU, and we will go over this Zybooks. Let me just show you where we're at here. So if you go to Introduction and go down to the bottom, you'll see 1.17 variables input and casting. Now, if you haven't completed this lab, I've done a video on that, and if you go to my channel and go to playlist IT 145, you can find this video and follow along to complete that lab. So let's get going on to 1.17, and I'm going to come down here and erase what I already put in there so that we can start from scratch. And just as in 1.16, they're giving us 3 prompts, and they want the outputs to look like this. When we get done, the final output will look like that. And so let's get started here. Now, one difference is you have your prompts here, 1, 2, and 3, but they also have another fix me line here. And you can see they've defined 2 of the variables, or established, initialized, let's call it initialize 2 variables, the integer and the double. And they're wanting us to do the same for the character and string variables. So let's do that real quick. First, we'll initialize the character, and we'll call it character, and we'll use the same format they're doing. So we'll just say user character equals. Now, when you're dealing with a string, with a character, when you're dealing with a character, you're always going to use single quotes. So remember that a character is single quotes, and it's only going to be one character. And so let's create our string, initialize our string, and we'll say string, and we'll follow the same format and just say user string equals. And now when you're dealing with a string, you're dealing with double quotes. So just remember, anytime you're doing strings, you're doing double quotes. So we'll type in there new string, and you might have noticed how the new lighted up blue. The new lighted up blue because that's a keyword. So this is how they want us to do this, because this is similar to that. But real quickly, I'll show you. So if you run this program, this is the way they want it done, because that's similar. But I'm going to show you another way. I've run it twice and tested it, so I know it works. But there's another way you could format this string. And what you could do is you could just say new string, and then put your parentheses there, and that does the exact same thing. So that will initialize the new string also. And if you ran it that way, it'll work, it'll pass. But I'm just trying to follow along with what they're saying and keep it in the same format that they're doing. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm just showing you that so that you know that does work. And then we'll just put new string. So, all right, so we finished this part of the fix me, and now we will move to the next section here. And what they're saying here is finish reading other items into variables, then output the 4 variables on a single line separated by a space. So here you can see they've already started the process of reading other items into variables, and they've done the integer. So what we're going to do is do the same thing they're doing, and what we got to do is we got to add, you can see we have the double, the character, and the string. So they've already done the integer. Okay, so that's what they've done here. And what we're going to do is to double the character in the string. So just to go make things a little faster, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it. And I'm just going to change that to say double. And so now it will say enter double. So you can see here it says enter double. And now we're going to create the input line so that it will enter double. So let's just copy this, put it over here, paste. Let's change it to user double. And we're going to change this, instead of saying next integer, we're going to say next double. And so now we're asking for the input enter double, and we're collecting that information with this line here. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for enter character. So we just put this here, okay, and then parentheses, and I'm just going to copy the enter character, copy, paste, put my space, put my double quote, and close it out. So now we've asked for the enter character. So we've completed that line there. Now we gotta create the input. Now, if you recall from the previous steps here, when you ask for a character, unlike here where you can say next double and next integer, you cannot do that with character. So here, you're going to say user character. User, you can't grab one letter, one character. So there is no next char. So what we're going to do is we're going to say user character equals, and then we're going to say scanner next. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to call the first, you're going to call the string. So you're calling the string. That's what this is doing. But what you're going to do is once you call that string, you're going to say, just give me the first location. That's what that 0 is, the first location in that string. So you can't really call a single character. So the way to get around that is you call your string. That's what you're doing here. And then you're using like a dot method. And you're calling the very first character in that string. So we've completed the enter integer, enter double, enter character. Now we're going to do the enter string. So let's just copy that, come down here, paste. We're going to change this to say string. And so now we've completed this enter string, and now we've got to collect the information. So we're going to say user string equals scanner dot next, and then semicolon. And so now you have the enter string completed, and once they enter that, you're collecting it here. Okay, so that finishes off this right here. Finish reading other items into variables. So we've completed that step. And now we have to output the 4 values on a single line separated by a space. So here we're going to get to do a lot of concatenating. So let's get started on that. And I'm just going to, again, I don't type very fast, so I'm going to copy what I can to save some time. So I'll just copy that and paste. And so we're just creating the system dot out dot print line, and then we're going to go ahead and concatenate user integer, user double, user character, and user string. And now make sure that they're separated by a space. Okay, so this is going to be user int plus, we're putting a blank space there, and then we're going to concatenate user double. So let's put that in there, user double. And now we're going to concatenate again another blank space, and we'll concatenate the character. So we'll say user character. Again, we will concatenate a blank space. And then finally, we will add the user string. And we'll close it out with the parentheses and then finish the statement with the semicolon. So with this print line statement here, we are saying put the user integer, put the space, put the user double, put the space, put the user character, put the space, and finishing it out with a user string. So that completes everything required for step 1. That would finish this off right here. Okay, so we're entering, and then we're putting our string there. So the next item on the agenda is output the 4 values in reverse. So this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have to say print line. So let's copy that, stick that down there, paste, and we're just going to do the same thing that we did, just in reverse. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go parentheses, and I'm going to put my user string plus, we're just concatenating, create that space, okay, and then put user character, and that's not a capital U, so I'm going to go back and change that. Okay, now let's concatenate our next space and put the user double. And then we'll concatenate our final space and put user int. Okay, and then we'll close it out with the parentheses and close out the statement with the semicolon. Okay, so we have output the 4 values in reverse. So we come up here, that finishes off this. So it's going to start up with this, and then we're going to print it backwards. It's going to look like that. So the last thing on here is cast the double to an integer and output that integer. Okay, so that final line will have the double variable there, and then we're going to concatenate it with the cast to an integer is, and then we're going to convert that double into an integer. So let's start by doing our system.out print line. So let's do that. Copy, paste. Okay, so they want our user double. So let's go ahead and give them that user double. And then we're going to concatenate that with the string cast to an integer is. Now remember, we're going to put a space here, because if we don't put that space there, it will rub up against the, it'll butt up against the number. So make sure you put the space after your double quote, and then we're going to put cast to an integer is. I'll just copy that, paste it. Again, put a space before you put your double quotes to close that out. And then concatenate that to, now what we're going to do is convert the user double to an integer. So we're going to say integer, and then we're going to put user double. And so by doing that, we're converting this user double into an integer, and then we're going to close it out with a semicolon. And so that should give us a output just like that. And so I've used the same inputs they have, so 99, 3.77 Z and Howdy. So you can see I've put the exact same inputs there. So let's go ahead and test this and keep my fingers crossed that everything passes. Okay, so it looks like everything looks good, and I'll submit this, so make sure, because sometimes you'll find when you're doing these labs that you'll run this program, everything looks good, and then you go to submit it and it finds errors. So there could be some blank space errors, and so just to make sure that we don't have any of those going on, I'm going to go ahead and submit this thing for grading and make sure it's okay. So let's see. Okay, so everything passed, and that's it. So again, I implore you guys to subscribe to my channel and like these videos if you like them. If you have any questions for me, if you need any help, feel free to send me an email. I've got 4 or 5 people that I help out on these classes, and I don't mind taking the time to help you with any issues or problems that you're having with these. So again, please subscribe, please like the videos, and if you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to help. Thank you.